Well, thank you, Mrs. Lincoln. What a turd in the punch bowl I am becoming. I'm not connecting these dots to be a doomsdayer or to give you severe clinical depression or a massive headache, although that may have already happened. But I've treated enough John Does to know that you don't start offering solutions until the patient clearly understands the problem and, more importantly, asks, what can I do about it? So what can we do about it? What are the solutions? How can we protect ourselves? And what does any of this have to do with Bitcoin? So what are the solutions to a nation-state debt problem? Well, basically, there's three. You can increase taxes, you can cut expenses, or you can print more money, which is just a hidden tax. Unfortunately, politicians who vote for more taxes or a reduction in entitlements don't get reelected. And that's why the bad news is our money is broken. It's broken because governments around the world have money printers. And as our thought experiment revealed, using the money printer is irresistible. And that's why Lyn Alden, the author of this book, Broken Money, says that at this juncture, nothing stops this train. The good news? Somebody has already fixed it for us. That somebody is Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonymous creator of Bitcoin. For the first time in human history, mankind has a technology and a money that not only separates money from state, but more importantly, it also separates money from human nature. Again, remember your sticky notes. Using the money printer is irresistible for humans. Or as Friedrich Hayek, Nobel Prize-winning economist, said in 1984, I don't believe we shall ever have good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way introduce something they can't stop. Hayek was talking and describing Bitcoin. Well, what is Bitcoin? Is it magic internet money? Wait a minute, I'm getting a little ahead of myself again. Let me ask you, how many of you have asked yourselves, what is money? And what makes it sound or not? Seems like we ought to know, because on average, all of us will work 78,000 hours for money. 17.8% of our waking hours, 1/5 of our entire lives. Ironically, none of us really wants money. We want the things money can buy: goods, services, free time, liberty. So this green piece of paper that I have here, where is it? This. We all use it, right? That's fiat currency. The term fiat comes from the Latin word meaning to be done, or let it be done, or it shall be. It is money by decree. In modern usage, fiat refers to the type of money that has no intrinsic value and is not backed by any physical commodity, like gold or silver. Prior to fiat, money evolved organically without coercion from barter to commodities, to seashells, to glass beads, to salt, and eventually to precious metals. We, all of us, chose our money because it satisfied three important properties: store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. To be more specific, store of value means it has to be scarce, limited in supply. It has to be durable, able to withstand the tests of time. It has to be immutable or censorship resistant. A irreversible record of who owns what with minimal reliance on third parties. It has to be a good medium of exchange. It has to be portable, easy to transact and transport. It has to be acceptable, widely accepted. And as a unit of account, it needs to be divisible. Every dollar isn't equal to 100 pennies. And fungible. Any unit is interchangeable with any other unit. So using those criteria, how does Bitcoin stack up? In this chart, orange represents Bitcoin, green represents the US dollar, and gold, well, represents gold. So as you can see, the only area where Bitcoin trails the dollar is acceptability. But that is changing very fast. You can now pay your Colorado taxes in Bitcoin and have been able to for the last 4 years. You can buy your hamburgers at places like Steak and Shake. And you can buy your dental services at Link Dental in Denver. Burger King was the first mover when it came to credit cards. Steak and Shake is the first mover when it comes to Bitcoin. They just started doing this May 16th, halfway through their second quarter. They increased their earnings by 10%. Historically, the money that best fulfills these properties, especially the store of value, has become the dominant sound money of its time. Gold held that title for centuries. In fact, some say that the term sound money comes from the distinctive sound that a gold coin makes when it strikes the ground. Very different from a debased or counterfeit coin. But gold had an Achilles heel. It wasn't easy to transport, and it wasn't very divisible. So back in the day, people used to give their gold to the goldsmith, and he would give them paper claims for their gold. It was good as gold, these claims, and they started to circulate in the local economy. And after a while went by, the goldsmiths realized, you know what? Not many people are coming back to get their gold. So they started issuing paper claims for gold that didn't exist as loans to people. They enriched themselves, essentially. And voila, fractional reserve banking was born. I'll let you be the judge if that is serving us well. But now there's a new gold in town, and it doesn't have problems with divisibility or transportation in a digital world. We no longer need goldsmiths, and we don't need bankers. And when it comes to soundness, this Coinbase commercial says it best.
In 2012, you'd need 30,000 Bitcoin to buy this house. A decade later, it'd only cost you 20 Bitcoin. And today, it could be yours for 5. If home prices keep falling in Bitcoin, why do they keep rising in dollars?
There are so many ways to think about money. And oftentimes it depends on your circumstances. If you're Jack Mallers of Strike, you think of money as stored time and energy in abstracted form. Personally, I like this definition. It resonates with me. But if you're Lyn Alden, author of Broken Money, you think of money as a ledger that codifies who owns what. And whoever owns that ledger has tremendous power. Gold is owned by nature. Fiat is owned by the state. Bitcoin is owned by nobody, but accessible to everybody. So arguably, Bitcoin is more than just the best designed and engineered money the world has ever known. And it means very different things to very different people in different circumstances. So if you're an Afghani woman, it's a way to keep money for yourself in a totally patriarchal society. If you're a refugee, it's a way to reconstitute your entire net worth just by remembering 12 words. For people who live in dictatorial countries like Venezuela with high or hyperinflation, it's a way to store and exchange value outside of that system. For the world's diaspora, it's a way to remit money back home without the 8 to 12% confiscation from Western Union. And if you're Larry Fink, even Larry Fink, the CEO of the largest asset manager in the world, you are now telling your investors Bitcoin is the best hedge against inflation there is. But fundamentally, Bitcoin is money with absolute scarcity. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And there will never be more than 21 quadrillion Satoshis. Each Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million Satoshis. You can make more gold, more collectibles, more equities, more real estate, more bonds, more fiat currency, but you cannot make any more Bitcoin. This idea is captured perfectly in this Coinbase commercial.
Every day, the Fed prints an average of $465 million. That's 26,000 shipping containers a year, created out of thin air. Maybe that's why the dollar loses value over time. But there's one thing they can never print more of: Bitcoin. At the size of a quarter, this is all there will ever be. Shouldn't a store of value hold its value?
Bitcoin is the best way to maintain and grow wealth of any asset in the last 15 years. Nothing is even close. If the amount of fiat currency that can be created is infinite, then the future value of Bitcoin is infinity divided by 21 million. And you don't need a bank account or a brokerage account. You don't need a lot of money. Instead of buying that Starbucks, buy a little Bitcoin. All you need is an internet connection. And this is why Bitcoin has become the bank for 1.8 billion people that were unbanked prior to Bitcoin becoming a thing. Bitcoin is the fastest asset ever to achieve a market cap of $1 trillion. 1/4 of the time it took Microsoft. Bitcoin is the only truly decentralized, globally decentralized, immutable ledger, accessible to everyone, but owned by no one. The Bitcoin network is the world's largest supercomputer. Nothing is even close. The most secure computer network in human history. It has never been hacked. Bitcoin is the winning protocol. Just like TCP/IP is the winning protocol for the internet, chosen for its simplicity, reliability, openness, and free access, Bitcoin has won the protocol competition for transferring value on the internet for the exact same reasons. Bitcoin is money without middlemen. No banks, no permission, tiny fees. Send value anywhere in the world, anytime, and it's final in 10 minutes. That is revolutionary. Cutting out $2 to $3 trillion of middleman taxes every year. Bitcoin is the neutral reserve currency, or really money, the world needs and craves. Ask any nation that has been sanctioned by the United States. Ask the Canadian truckers whose bank accounts were frozen in 2022 for a peaceful protest against vaccine mandates. Ask the Trump family, I don't care about your politics, that was debanked 4 times in 2021. The payrolls of thousands of their employees were delayed. Bitcoin is the only money that cannot be weaponized. And if you're opposed to this idea, if today's money is used against people you dislike, tomorrow it can and eventually will be used against people you love. Bitcoin is freedom money. Money with rules but no rulers. It's the people's money. If the founding fathers were alive today, they would almost certainly be Bitcoiners. And if Satoshi had been around in 1776, he might have been one of them. Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution clearly states, "No state shall make anything but gold and silver a tender in payment of debts." These were very brilliant men who risked their lives to give us the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Documents born out of a deep suspicion of centralized power, especially over money. They knew the dangers of paper currency not backed by gold or silver. They understood human nature and the irresistible temptation to print. So most people, maybe even you, come to Bitcoin for its number go up technology. They want to get wealthy. But they stay for the peaceful monetary revolution. The Boston Tea Party was in response to taxation without representation, a violent act against injustice. Right now, we are on the precipice of another monetary reset because nation states around the world have printed too much money. Throughout history, monetary resets have almost always involved upheaval. Why? Because wealth inevitably concentrates around and closest to people who are close to the money printer. And eventually, the people farthest away from the money printer revolt. Bitcoin offers something radically different, a peaceful revolution. No violence, no protests, just a global opt-out, one person at a time, from a broken system to one that's fair, transparent, and incorruptible. So why not join the revolution? It's not like I'm asking you to take up arms and to fight a guerrilla warfare against the redcoats. Just slowly opt out of a system that is enslaving you.